Hello, everyone. Mackie is here with your mid-season madness edition of the rankings. This is part two of the rankings of all MSI in terms of teams, players, and coaches. Yesterday we covered the players. Actually, we covered the teams. Today we're covering the players and, of course, the coaches. So, how am I going to do this? We are going to rank them and put into different tiers: S tier, A tier, B tier, based on their performances in a regional season, and probably my expectations going into the midseason invitational. Now I'll do that with a little bit of color coding. In case you haven't noticed, you don't know color coding and everybody else. This red means you're kind of bad, but not F tier bad, but more like you're bad. C tier, you're in the middle but okay. B tier, you're good, just not as great enough. A, you're great but not super enough, and an S tier like super. And these are gonna be made in all colors. After this, I'm gonna send it into Reddit or Twitter or God knows what, and let everybody flame me for it. So without further ado, let's just go ahead. If you like and subscribe, no, if you like all of these things, please like and subscribe and comment and do all the kind of stuff so I can do more League of Legends and MSI content, especially for this month. Now then, without further ado, I think I should start. In fact, we have to use the wheel again. Is it time for the wheel? Is it time for the wheel? Yes, we do. We're gonna go back to our trusty old wheel. Actually, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna give me a few minutes to prepare myself. So give me a few minutes, prepare myself, and then we go again. Okay, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And in case everybody don't know, last week I used the picker wheel to determine my rankings for the MSI, in which I talk about narrative and team play and how the regionals done it. If you want more information about all the teams, my boy Secondary Poro did an excellent job of ranking all these teams. I'll link the channel to him, and you can just watch his breakdown of all the teams, the style of play, all that kind of stuff. Me personally, I'm more like a storytelling, narrative kind of guy. You know, I'm here for the stories, not for the tactical nuance and playing style, of course, which is really hard for an audience of 30 subscribers and don't care about league as much. But don't be a Debbie Dowler, Akeem. We're just here to talk league and all that kind of stuff. So I spin the wheel. Whichever team I pick, whichever team it picked, will be landed, and I will talk about the teams and the coaches and see where they're ranked. So here we go. First wheel. No, 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 no. Come on. You're kidding me. This wheel is rigged. This wheel is rigged. You No, come on, come on. You've you have got to be kidding me. It's like what, the second time in a row? Is it the second? Oh, but I have a choice. I have to keep true to my word. Let's talk about T1. I mean, this whole entire team was a mess, and not by BLG mess, but more like outside forces have caused this mess to happen. So let's start with let's start with the top lane of Dora. Now, what Asaka Toro is saying is that Doran is really good when he's playing against Keen or Zeus. When he was facing against Zeus, he's incredible. When he's facing players that are not Zeus, he's terrible. And that's pretty much the exception. I think Doran has done a pretty good job in the playoffs, of course, the road to MSI play-ins tournament. He was pretty much their best player along with Carry, of course. But in terms of overall situation, let's be honest, Zeus was the better player over Doran for a long time. And I do not know that a small sample size of a playoffs can ever do their justice. I think I'm gonna give Doran a C tier. I'm gonna give Doran a C tier for this. So let me just color this. Yeah. So I'm gonna go Doran into the C tier. Because let's be honest, I listen, other than Zeus, he has not been like the best top laner in all of T1. Sorry, all of the probably like all the world. And it's gonna be pretty much rough. Now, I'm not sure he can play Durant. I don't know sure if with the patches coming up, Aatrox is gonna be better. He can play the Bruiser Champions pretty well. He can do all this other stuff, but Durant in you know in these game situations, if he's not facing Zeus, he's gonna be in trouble, and he's probably like the weak link of this team. Owner, by the way, the other player, he has been struggling as well. He's did fine. He's not kind of great, of course. He was fine. He was kind of like, when you talk about Duran and then Gumayushi, those are the two guys that were in a mess. Faker is just in the middle. Owner has been, I gotta say, okay. He's been fine. He has not been splashing up, of course. He didn't done anything wowy or statistical wise to make you feel like, oh, he's a really good jungler. He's probably the best jungler ever. That may go to Canyon, of course. But in terms of like the best jungler, probably on the entire list of junglers in the league, it's pretty much rough for him. It's pretty much rough for him. So just let me do something here. Oh wait, give me 1 second. Okay, where was I? Okay, so I said that I think Owner is a okay jungler. He's done okay. He's never like otherworldly for me. I'm gonna give him the same tier, S tier. I think he's more of an S. Oh, sorry, C tier. Why am I mixing up S tier or C tier? He's not even S tier. Why am I mixing up? Yeah. So, anyways, I think Owner, you could say that he's a kind of a C tier jungler, not as flashy as anybody else. So he's fine. We got to talk about the GOAT himself, the greatest ever League of Legends player of probably all time. And whatever you said about him, the way he has, been longevity in his game. Like Faker quotes talk about Uzi when his retirement and health problems, which is ironically because Faker has a lot of health issues. It's ironic, isn't it? Pretty much ironic. But 1 second. But in terms of longevity, and in terms of like making an impact to League and probably making an impact for T1, he is without a doubt probably going to go down one of the best players in the league. The longevity, the play style he had to make from an incredible guy who could be clutch in all moments to become like the smart brains guy who could be not as great, but can pull up a clutch, one or two clutch plays to help the team wins. It's like, yeah, kill Faker, but the rest of the team can still win. That's what Faker is right now. He's a decently good player, which means I'm not going to put him like, and let's be brutally honest, I'm not going to put him in S tier or A tier because he's not even the best, mid laner. I mean, we all know who's the best mid laner. He is. Come on, no spoilers. And he's not even like the second best mid laner right now. So that's going to go to him and Caps. But I think Faker is going to do something in Worlds. Or MSI. Why am I mixing these things up? He's going to do something in MSI. Like he can always do in national events. People will be saying like, oh, we cannot do this. He's been making mistakes. But when the time comes, when a pressurized Game 5 comes, we all know how we're going to do that. Now, unfortunately, his victor is not as strong. Zero is going to come into the meta, which is really good for him. Twisted Fate is going to come into the meta, which is really, really good for him. I mean, if you want to look at Twisted Fate's patch notes, and we'll get to my ranking of players, he is crucial to this. Let's just see. Oh, there it is. His E bonus attack is increased, and the R cooldown in all cooldown decreased. And he's going to be a perfect mid laner for global and pretty much for any team cup. And we all know Faker is really good on this, Twisted Fate with his global ultimates and all kinds of stuff. So he could have a big impact. So, while I said that Faker is not like the top tier player that he once was, you all know when the situation is on the line, he can deliver in big situations for the team. And listen, I know shout out to Nymera and David S, who talked to me about making my placement of T1 kind of low, and even the Redditors kind of make sure that I rank T1 kind of low, because because of all the circumstances that have been dealt with. By their faults, of course. Some of the fans' fault, some is Joe March's fault. And listen, let's be honest. I pretty much have on Live Esports winning that series. The fact that T1 actually do that and sweep them is amazing. But let's be honest, Zeka. If Zeka was been here, if Zeka would and Live Esports would been there, I think he and Chovy would have been like 1 and 2 all time. Maybe I'll put them in S tier. But the fact that Faker is here is like, okay, he's fine, but he's just not as close as Chovy. But when the pressure comes and when the circumstances are here, I think he'll deliver. But for now, for the way this split has gone through, I'm gonna give him a B tier. Where is it? I'm gonna place it at B. I'm gonna place him at B tier. He's a B tier player for me. So he will find a way. But he will find a way to make it special. He will find a way to make it about him, as always. Gumayusi. I feel so bad for him. Like, if there's one player I feel bad of, I mean, Doran was kind of like the lucky sweepstakes of a horrible organizational greedy trade. Gumayusi was kind of like the product of like fan discourse, because Smash was a better player than Gumayusi. He died 2v2 so many times. He's not laning well. He is not performing well. And that's the reason why they put in Smash in. And Smash did well in winter. He's thinking to himself, okay, Smash is going to be our player for spring. Everything will be okay. But then the discord of the fans and Joe March have to just step down and instead have like the balls to say, we're keeping Smash. I don't care what your people think. Smash is a better team than the Gumayusi. You actually put Gumayusi becoming like, my God, Joe March is so weak. He is weaker than Talia. He is so weak than Tyrese Halliburton's hamstring or a calf injury. Is that too soon? Is that really too soon? I think that's too soon. Sorry, Indian Pacers fans. That hurts. But listen, the fact that Gumayusi was there is because of fan sentiment, not just because of anything else. And it just makes you feel like this is also the really discord that I hate T1 fandom. Like, I get to respond to T1 fandom. At least they don't threaten me and hate me, of course. But listen, this is the reason why I put you low in this list. This is the reason why you're like a fifth place team, because of things like these and the fact that you're not even close to Genji's level. Hell, I don't know if you're close to anyone's Legends level. But again, clutchness with a capital K, I guess. So, who am I going to talk about? The playoffs Gumayusi was fine. He was fine. He was decent. He was doing well. But I don't think it makes up for the fact that this is such a mess, of course, he was placed in. By Joe March, by the fans, by everybody else. I think Gumayusi is fine, but he's just not in a grand stake. So I'll give him a C tier. He did okay at the end of the season, at the playoffs. When it matters the most, he did fine. But beyond that, with everything going on, I think it's like, he's just not there. And finally, to Keria, the only bright spot of the team, pretty much the only great thing to ever happen to T1, which thank the Lord he is. And also, he got a really good haircut, by the way. Wish I have one right now. He can play your main raid champions. He can play your Lux. He can play your Ashes. He can play everything else. He is the kind of player that he's gonna pick those crazy champions, and you cannot do anything. It's like, I want to play Lux. Well, you're not Keria. I want to play that champion. You're not Keria. That's the point. Keria is him. Keria can play these champions. You can't. No matter how good you are, no matter how elo you are, you cannot play as great as Keria. Now, the support champions, the engaged champions are going to be his problem. He played a little bit of Rel, of course. I heard. But I think Keria is a really good superstar. Maybe he's not S tier level support, but I think for me an A tier is pretty good. He has been the only good reason why T1 are in this. That him and Zace. Duran. Oh. He and Duran are the only good reason why T1 did well in the road to MSI planes. So, and if Keria can perform well like he always do, I think T1 could win the whole thing. And finally, to Coach Koma, one of the most legendary coaches ever, multi-time world champion, multi-time MSI champion, and probably the weakest person in all that team. and it's not for coaching. No, it's not for coaching. It's the fact that he just becoming like it's well, let's just say it almost feels like the fans are determining the team and not Coma himself. Like Coma could have been more, hard stone to be like, put him smash in. I'll put his smash in. Okay, let's put smash in. He's the best player. We can do that. But unfortunately he can't. And I said I think the whole Gumi Yushi situation make Coma look like a weak person. He looked weak right now. He looks absolutely weak. Now he's a great coach by legendary name alone, but in the last couple of years, he has just not been like himself. He's not there. And now he's going in with a toxic fan base that if T1 were to lose a game or two, he's gonna get scrutinized. I don't care how famous you are, how good of a name is, it's going to be rough for Coma. It's going to be really rough for him. So right now I put him in C tier. I'm gonna put him in the C tier because I think that he's a great coach. He's still gonna be a great coach, but he has seen days, man. His coaching greatness has gone through days, of course. Like he couldn't work with like D. Well, he didn't work with D plus Kia. He's kind of working with T1, but he's just not looking great. So 3 players on my C tier list. Faker my only B tier, and Kia is my A tier, of course. So that's how we get it started. That's a little bit of warm up, of course. Give me few seconds, and then we'll get to the next team. Be right back. Okay, welcome back. I have to turn off the night shift focus because I need to like not get my eyes strained sometimes in the night. So, shall we move on to the next team? Let's see who's going to be. Oh, G2. Okay, then. Okay, so G2 then is a really interesting spot we're in. So G2 for the last 2 splits are now the second best team in all of LEC for probably the first time in a long while. In fact, I haven't seen G2 being the second best in LEC for a long time since 2018, which is going to show how competitive this region is. And that's good for me. That's good for all the viewership, I guess. Let's start with the top. Broken Blade he's been okay. And he's been great, play Camille, he can play Camille. He can play your Yorick, he can play your Yoriks. Well, I don't think he played Yorick that much. But the brother can play so much. So let me just see if I can look at his stats. Let me just see if I can look at his stats to get a pretty much clear idea. I haven't done my stat checking. This might take a while, but I need to look at some stat checking. Let's see. Oh, wrong player. Wrong player, Akeem. There. Yeah, there. So, this is season 15 so far, and Jax is his most played. Jax is only most played champion. I mean, I think Jax got buffed. Did Jax got buffed? No, he got nerfed. He's got nerfed. Well, not much nerfed, but let's see. Yeah, got nerfed. Passive attack increase. Ooh. 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 Okay, Jax. Jax can do something in the split. So I think Broken Blade can play a lot of Jax. Okay, he can do something with Jax. So he's really good at Jax. Got a bigger win rate. Nah, he done well. Sion can done well. Gwen, Renekton, Aatrox because of course he got buffed. 58.8% in win rate. He is okay, but I think like the rest of the team, if he falls off, I think the team is gonna lose, and I think he's personally have not done well in this split. That may be a product of like his team overcooking themselves in draft, or maybe his performances are not done well. Now, I think this is a theme for G2, is that we all know what he, Caps, and Hansama can do internationally. Listen, this is me speaking about regional rankings and how they done in regionally and my expectation going to MSI. We all know what Broken Blade is capable of. We saw it from last year against Loud in that dreaded red wedding game against Loud again when he lock in Darius and just absolutely bleed out the entire Loud game, the red wedding game, of course, as many call it. I think he's capable of doing it, but I don't see him as anything higher. Maybe he's not as maybe Keen is okay, you know, high. Well, he's He's not as high. I mean, Durant is okay. I think he's higher than Durant. Let's be honest. Keen, he has not been covering himself in glory. Bit so does Ben. I think I gotta put him in. I think C tier. Maybe I'll put in C tier. B tier is okay. I think B tier is okay. But I think the way the season has gone, he's been a little bit average for me. So I'll put him in B tier, of course. Now, Skillmon has been like the only bright spot of this team. For a rookie to come in and having a pretty good performance. A pretty good performance by like, European standards. It's amazing. For him to do so well as a rookie. Just look at his stats. This is probably all of spring, by the way. But if you look at his performance, he has been pretty decent. Makai 5 times, Xin Zhao 6 times. He has been more of an engaged bruiser champion in some cases, especially with the Vi. And Xin Zhao, he's also pretty good at. Pantheon, he can work with. So he can play like a multiple of champions, especially with Fearless, of course. I think Maokai. I don't think Maokai. I think Maokai is kind of touched in his past. Let's just see. No, he hasn't been touched. So I think my issue, of course, is lack of experience because it's his first international tournament. But also, it's like if the champions that he has are taken away, what does he have, and can he supply with the team? We all know that rookie players are tend to like not doing well, especially with like pairing to Caps, and Caps does not have a great split. We'll get to him later, but I want to see what Skillman is going to be capable of. But the hype around him is huge. The expectation is like not that high, but pretty much high. I'm putting it in B tier. I think it might be a tier jungler. I think he's gonna put on some decent performances to help this team work out. To really help this team work out, because I think this team needs a pretty good performance. Consider the rest of the veteran players are floundering, including our boy Caps. He has not covered himself in glory. I think the one most memorable play of the entire split was Caps doing something on Oriana and kind of like ran it down. Not ran it down, but kind of like make it a little oopsie, of course. We're in the Dragon Lane. And he has not covered himself in glory. Now let's look at the stats. Let's look at our dear old stats, of course. The fact he played this long is amazing. Like Faker, of course. But let's look at the stats for spring. It has not been great. 58.8%. And he's got a 3-0-10 against, Team Heretics. But that's pretty much it. He has not covered himself in glory. Like 588.1. That is not great. Talia, he's doing well on Talia. Hui, he's also done. He can play the Akali and of course the Ari. He already played the Oriana and to no avail. Annie, of course. Galio in some cases. Aurora only once, but didn't work. Rise is gonna get a buff, so we may gonna see more of his Rise, and which he's really good at, which like many people are good at. So did Azir. So he may get like a couple of buffs, and maybe we'll see like his play production on Rise really, pun intended, rise. We all know what Caps is capable of in international tournaments. Last year, we all saw that he played pretty well in international tournaments. Now, listen, he has not been great, of course, this split. He has not been great like all year. But when it comes to international tournaments, we all know how he can shine. I think I'll put him in the same tier as Skillmon is put in as B tier. He's not great, he's not super, but we all know what he can capable of in international tournaments. And I think in order for G2 to do well this MSI, Caps need to show up a better performance. If he doesn't put up a better performance, I think he and maybe G2 can suffer. Not saying they're going to suffer in the play-ins, but in the knockout rounds of the MSI, I think he needs to put up a different performance. Now, Hansam has been the only bright spot in this team. Like, he's been steady. But he's not the guy that loses the game, but he's not the kind of guy that wins you the game. He's been steady. His performances are kind of okay-ish. Like, if we look at the stats right here, same thing as Caps, 58.8%. His CS is just not so hot. Like, look at this. This is what happens. I mean, of course, this is a product of G2 not playing great in the early game. Their mid game is incredible, but the early game is less to desire. 27.2% damage. He played Kaiser. He played Varus. Senna got a little bit nerfed, of course. Israel, Caitlyn, Draven, of course. He popped a Draven level once, but we all know that's going to be banned. We all know that's going to be banned until, like, game 5 ish. So the question is, how will he and Labrov can work in this team? And considering that he's the only good thing to ever happen to the team, if you say that Cavs and Broken Blade done well, can Hans Sama be an absolute carry to this team? Can he be a monster that can make G2 good enough? I think that's be a yes. But I think, the performances, especially in the playoffs, have not been as kind to them to the point of, like, maybe Hans Sama is good. Maybe Hans Sama will be good enough to carry this team to victory. But I just barely even see it. So, for me personally, I think Hans Sama is a B tier for me. He's a B tier player. He's the reason why G2 has been decent, but he's not probably like the reason why G2 are like winning anything as much. Which bring us to Labrov. Now a lot of people have criticized Labrov, which is rightly so. He's have some moments, some great moments, not so great moments as well. I mean, any people criticize Labrov saying he's the reason why he's not great. But listen, when you wear the shirt of G2, you're expected to be like great all the time. Problem is he can't. He has some pretty bad moments. Now, does it mean that Labrov is a hoardy? He's not a great support? No, he hasn't. He's not. He's not going to be a great support. But I'll tell you what. He has to show up in this MSI. He has to show up. He has to show up to make an impact, especially with Skumon being important. That support jungle synergy has to work. So did that mid support. He's gonna have to play. So let me just see what Labrov can. Let's see what Labrov is. He is like, look at this, more of engaged champions. Alistar engaged, Nala's engaged, Rel, Leona, Braum, those are engaged champions. Enchanter champions have been okay-ish kind, but he's more of an engaged champion. He's more like a engaged kind of champion. His support range champions have not been great. So that doesn't mean that Labrov is a bad player. He's just not as decent enough. I think I'll give him a C. I'll give him a C. I'll give him a C. And of course, I will see him wrong. I want to see if he can prove himself wrong. I want to see if he can prove himself wrong and, show up if you have to. That leaves us with our coach, Dylan Falco, who he's a Canadian, by the way. He's been a G2 coach for about 2 years. He is okay. He is a really great coach. He can cook with the drafts. He can, bring up some wacky stuff, of course, that people will never see. Like, oh, what kind of drafts is this? Like the Koi draft that he has, they won like all drafts. They were winning all drafts. And the bad part about it is that the drafts are kind of overcooked a little bit, and the players are kind of inting a bit. So does that mean that Dylan Falco is a bad coach? No, he's a really good coach. That's why I put him as A tier for like the drafting creativity and all this kind of stuff. But he's not like the god tier coach, because I think in order for him to be a god tier coach, he just needs to win a couple of titles. But most importantly, his draft has to have an impact on the players. He needs to have. Listen, it's not gonna say he's gonna have a great draft all the time, but his draft needs to utilize the player's strengths and make it even work. Because if you draft like a bad one and they win, that's more of like the players, not like you. But I think Dylan Falco's presence is making G2 a pretty good team. So I'll put him in A tier. All right. Next one on the wheel. We're getting good. Getting good. We're getting good. FlyQuest right now. Whew. Okay. This is the longest ever standing team in all of the contestants in MSI. And there's a lot to say about that. I think we have to go with Top Force, probably the most divisive player in all of West, and probably the most divisive player in the league. You like the guy, you don't like the guy. The one thing you can do is, he can end sometimes, he can make bad decisions, but when it comes to the moment, Brimpo can always put up some decent performances. Last year, he done well with Urgot, with the Urgot. Yeah, he was exceptional with the Urgot. And it was probably like the reason why the backdoor was existed. Although Inspire was like also a reason that the backdoor exists, but it's like Brimpo kind of like engineered that. And even he's like behind, of course, he can always provide that team with a victory. So he's like hey, he's bad, but he can also provide your team with a victory. Now, do I believe that makes him successful? Sure, he's successful. He's been there for like years. Whether you like him or not, he is successful. But that will put him. That will also put him as a bad spot. As, all right, sorry about that. Before I go crazy with a coughing, Broken Blade, Whipple can win you a game, but he also be the guy who can lose you a game in some places. Which is why I feel like he's a C tier for me. Not horrible enough, but not great enough to like win your game. And he can have the occasional in sometimes, especially when you play like Renekton sometimes. But man, he can really let you win a game. Of course, he can really let you win a game in some cases. Now I talk about Inspire. I believe I listen. I don't think Inspire like a top tier jungler, probably the best jungler in the world, but probably the best jungler in the West. I think the way he has been playing this split and have you know let's be honest, have he would have not in these games, I would have had him as finals MVP. He was decent in some of them, but there's a reason why they put Quad in the finals. By the way, he would have been the second person to win finals MVP and MVP overall since Bjergsen did it way back when. He could have been that. He could have been in the conversation and probably one of the conversations for best Western jungler of all time. I mean, he didn't, and credit to him, but he is a really special player. He's been a really special player. And his stats this season, his stats this split, has been okay. Zinjao for 8 times, 88, Zinjao pretty well. Sejuani's on perfect rate. Pantheon perfect rate. Skarner iffy. But he can play so much, you know, engaged champions most of the time. And one of them is like a bruiser champion. So you can play your engaged bruiser, jungler kind of support. I play Ivern once. Same thing with Vi, same thing with Wukong, of course. So he can play them all. And he's a pretty decent jungler, of course. Now, I don't think he's S tier. Listen, sorry, brother, but he's not like a god tier, S tier jungler. But the fact that he's like one of the best, you know, you know, junglers in the last couple of years. The way he carried Rogue to a championship, the way he carried you know, all these other teams to success, including FlyQuest and Evil Geniuses. And by the way, this is his second MSI tournament, of course. The last time he was there, he was with Evil Geniuses. So I think we all know what successful he is. He's a pretty great jungler, but he's not like a top tier jungler like everybody else. So I'll give him an A tier. I'll give him an A tier. I'll give him the A tier because I want to see what Inspire can do at the international events. We saw him in the Worlds. He was a catalyst for you know, um, he was a catalyst for the incredible comeback against Gen G or the incredible series against Gen G. And we all saw him throughout the LTA split. He is probably going to be the really good thing about this team. He's gonna be a really good asset to this FlyQuest team, trying to make it all the way to a national event. Now to Quad. Theory me Quad. It is now Quad was the reason why this team has gone too far, of course. Exactly a year ago, they put him Jensen in, and let's just say Jensen have seen better days. Playing decently well. I mean, they lost to PSG Talon, for God's sake. It is not a great taste in my mouth. Quad, the real Finals MVP, it's been fine. And listen, he's been fine. He has been fine. Talia with his incredible old playing to clutch that game forward. That was unbelievable. Azir can also play. Victory's done well. And he can play well. Rise, who's going to get buffed, is incredible. But the one champion, and I think Sakadera Poro told us, is his Cassiopeia. Brother and sisters, this guy is the best Cassiopeian player in the world. In fact, if you look at all of his stats, this is the second most played champion, and his 57.1% is tell others. He is an amazing Cassiopean player. And maybe, with the Fearless Job being true, he might pull up a Cassiopean in one of those game fives. Who knows? But the guy's an amazing Cassiopean player. He's also a good Orianna player, but he doesn't play Orianna that much. Like, he only played 2 times. So we're not going to get, like, much Orianna going through. But if Azir is open, if, Cassiopeia is open, if Talia is open, then we may get to see something. We may get to see something special from Quad. Or, his XP numbers is not great. 44.8% CS in 15 minutes is not great, especially when you face up against really high, strong Asian teams. But I believe Quad is a pretty good player. And he's now embedded into the FlyQuest Championship mantra already with his incredible heads-up mechanics and his incredible, clutchness, of course, in some cases. And his brain as well. Let's go with Masu, our own Canadian friend. Let's go to our Canadian friend Masu. Now, I think Masu has been pretty good. Like, whew! Varus 6%. Corki, Caitlyn, and Kalista 100% win rate. Now, he's he not even played well, but Kaiser is also doing well. This guy is a special player. And I think he'll be like one of those special players in the next couple of years. That is going to be like one of the best players in all of NA. NA grown product, by the way. Consider the fact that we are giving away, that NA has been known to giving away talent and not produce well in most years. And that's probably the reason why the NA scene has been pretty much dying, because by the way, David has a perfect TikTok video, of course, talking about it, that NA is like the third best, in terms of game played or like presence in League of Legends ever. The problem is competitive and ranked has not even showed up in most of the games. They are not doing well in competitive and ranked. But we know Masu is right now. We know Masu is a decent player. He's a unbelievable player. He's the reason why they did well in Worlds last year. He's probably the reason why this team is doing well in spring, not winter, of course, when they're underwhelmed or undervalued. So I think, Masu can be an incredible player. I believe in him. I think he got the skills to do it. I think he can play some of the champions that are there. I think Senna got nerfed, of course, but I don't think he plays Senna that much. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Only played 1 time. So we might get more of the Varus. We might get more of Kalista. We might get more of Kaiser. And he's really good at these champions. I think he's gonna be important because I think he's gonna go out there and beat an Asian team. Why not? I said, listen, why not? I think Masu can beat an Asian team. I believe that Masu can go and beat an Asian team, which is why I put him as my B tier player for this MSI. I think he's going to go so much places. I have high praises for him. I have high praises for support as well, which is Busio, by the way. Now, Busio have been placed in the graveyard of 100 Thieves Academies who done well in academy terms, but have not produced higher standards. But thankfully for FlyQuest, different atmosphere, different, level of expectations. And Busio has been fitting in well. I think Busio has been also, like Masu, a pretty good support. I think, his ceiling is high. If he develops really well, he could be the next raid support player like Afromu, of course. Legend, remember him? Engage champions, your Alistairs, your Nico, your Nautilus, your Rel. You can also play the Charming champs like Renata and Rakan. So you can play a lot of champions, and he can play so good, like so good sometimes. Hell, he even played elite support. I think he played elite support in Game 5 of that finals. That is wild. That is wild to hear. And I thought, and listen, let's be honest, I thought it was never going to work, but if it fooled me once, shame on you, kind of thing. So I think that he make it work. I think Busio is going to be one of those fascinating players that are going to be like, if developed rightly for the next couple of years, will be a great player. As for the MSI tournament kind, I think he might struggle. I think he might struggle. We don't know what he's gonna have. Although, listen, all the players have been to like international and crowd moments, so they'll be fine. But he and Whipple could be a problem. Inspire is fine. Quad, I think it could be a problem for him. Masu, he's gonna be good. Busio is, if he's not on gate champions, he's gonna be like not a okay player. I'm gonna put him like in B tier. I think I'm gonna put him in B tier. I think B tier, is fine for him. I think, it's fine for him. And I think, Busio could be development. And that leaves us with Nuke Duck. Former player, of course, and now turned coach. And now he has won more titles as a coach than a player. Interesting. It's kind of like Cagel has won more from a content streamer team than a player. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now for Duke, I think his coaching has been okay. I think his coaching has been pretty good. We saw it from Game 5 of that wacky draft. We saw his creativity shown at Worlds. The Rumble playstyle was incredible. The fact that High Life Esports did not realize that a Rumble exists. So he got the creativity and the coaching, of course, that he has from his playing years, of his so many vast knowledge of his years on, of course. So that is what makes Nuke Duck so important. Now is he a great coach? No. But I put him as like a B tier coach just because of his coaching philosophy, and I think just because I think he can make this team good. I think he can make this FlyQuest look good. So look at that. You got some great players in that team. I think Whipple's gonna be like the one outlier, of course, but overall, I think it's a good team that FlyQuest will have, and probably give NA some hope that they ever have for the last couple of years post pandemic. Because let's be honest, the LTA right now is getting a lot of crap. They need FlyQuest to do well. Fury is not going to get anything like that, but they need FlyQuest to do well, or all hell will break loose. And I'm not talking about, you know, actual hell. I mean, riot protests are going to be absolutely off the charts. Next team. Okay, movie star Koi. Let's do this. Well, there's a lot to talk about, but just give me a few seconds to talk about Koi, and we'll come back to you. And also, this video is gonna be way too long for this, and I'm gonna ramble a lot. So maybe I think by the time we finish Koi, we might gonna do a part two of it about it. So a little bit of break, Koi, and then maybe part two after this. Maybe. Oh hey, I just finished watching a psychedelic poro video about. He gave us a little primer about the MSI, of course. So if you want to check it out, he's also did the breakdowns, of course. It's basically everything I just said, including ranking the teams, but probably more in depth. Where was I? Ah yes, Koi. He also mentioned about Merwin being like he is the straw that stirs the drink. In terms of like his champion pool is what dictated, of course, the entire Koi playstyle. That doesn't mean that if now do I believe that Merwin is a bad player? No, I don't think Merwin is a bad player. But at the same time, let's see. Let me just see if I get his name right. I don't think I got his name right, but I believe that Merwin is a pretty fine player. The problem is that his pool is championship pool, and depending on how that top lane goes, in some cases, maybe it might affect his team. Seriously, that we don't know if like he could be good enough. He could be a god tier. He could be a D. He could be fine. I think top lane so far has not seen like the best of days. Maybe I'll put him in B tier, but because of like the whole is greater than the sum of his parts, I'll put him in C tier. I'm putting him in like C tier right now. Oh wait, let me just see. Let's see. C tier, and that's it. So he's my C tier for me. Elioya right now. Oh, we're gonna need to talk about this guy. The guy is now a multi-time champion with both Mad Lions and Koi. He's probably the reason why they won this series against G2. He's the MVP of the final series, which is pretty much rightfully so. And wherever he goes, so does Koi. That includes Merwin, that includes Jojo Pin, that includes Super and Alvaro. Wherever Elioya goes, this team follows as well. I think he's right now. I'm not saying he's one of the best junglers ever. Not probably one of the best junglers in the West. I mean, look at Inspired. Skumon is in that fringe, of course. But Eloria has now established himself as one of like the most premier junglers. And like with him, this team is incredible. Without his presence and without his gameplay, he could be not as impactful. So I believe that S tier is pretty much right for him. Let me just look at this. Yeah, I think S tier is pretty much right with Ayoya, given that his impact towards the team is important, the play style is really important, and he has been pretty much clutch when he needed. I think Ayoya could be an important player for Koi. Now to Jojo Pin. First ever Canadian to ever, well, first ever North American player to ever win LEC, and he's now coming back home. Second MSI appearance next to Evil Geniuses years ago. I think Jojo Pin is a okay player. Now, does Jojo Pin is the reason why this team won? No, he isn't. But he's not the. But at least he's not like Frascurin from last year. He has been a steady player. He plays. He plays a mean Kassadin. Like pull out the Kassadin like game four. Like unbelievable bravery. He has some flashes. He has put up some decent performances, but he's just not. It's not as top tier like your quad, your caps, and even your faker, of course. In fact, he's not even close to faker. But maybe, just maybe, they might if his performance can raise up just a level. He might be an Eastern team. He can't. I mean, the last time he was in MSI, he can't even beat he cannot even beat a European team. So watch just to say that he could pull off against an Eastern team with a very good atmosphere, with a very good fan base, and the fact that he's coming home would extra motivate them. So I'll put Jojo Pin as my C tier team. But I think it could be, but maybe it might be a B tier, of course. Maybe it might be B tier, but I think C tier is fine. I think C tier is fine for him. Super. Super is a really good player. Especially in that last series, of course. He was instrumental in that last series. He could pop off, of course. I think Super is now going in as one of the best, ADCs we ever have. Probably in Europe, of course. Maybe he's decently better than Hans Sama, but Hans Sama is like okay-ish, and then so does like Super in these cases. But I think Super is a fantastic ADC. I think if we look at his stats, by the way, you can see that 60% win rate is okay. Kaiser is a huge win rate. Varus is a huge win rate. Tristana a huge win rate. And by the way, these champions may or may be like not being affected that much. Some of them are like fringe prick, of course. And he plays a guy like all of them, including the Zeri, which I don't think we'll see her much in the tournament. Jinx can be playable. Well, Jinx is okay-ish. But in terms of meta champions, in which like it cannot be touched, these I think he can play the Kaiser very well. I think he can play the Israel. I think he can play the Varus and Varus pretty well. I think these are the top three champions from the ADC that I think Super can pull up and actually perform well, of course. So I think Super is a pretty fantastic player and one for the future. I mean, he's already a future player, but for him, this Super guy is going to be an B tier player. Not as middle of the pack. He could pop off some incredible games, but we'll see how it goes in the national events. Alvaro is a support. He having a wonderful play against Rel, against G2. Alvaro is Alvaro is a fantastic player, not a Spanish player, of course. Rel 10 times. He has a 50% win rate. He's good. Rakan is also engaged. All-Star Nico. Nico support is a huge support. So does Bomb. So does Nautilus. He can also play Renata Glass and also play Leona. So it's more like a lot of the same champions that are going to be involved in MSI. And I think Alvaro will not only strive but thrive. He has been performing pretty good for his team. like, listen, his 60% win rate can say much. He can play decent knowledge. He has a .34 killer assistant per minute. So I think Alvaro is a pretty good support who can make this team go. Like we all know how great a lawyer is, but maybe he and Alvaro can work themselves together. And I believe if this team can do well, maybe they might put an upset against an Asian team. Maybe is a key word. So I think Alvaro is a B tier as well. He's a B tier, not as bad, but not as great to like touch the A tier and B tier or S tier. Melton is the coach of the team. He is the one that put all of this together. The fact that he managed to bring all this team together and actually won LEC. Like, listen, while I was watching that incredible matchup between Alcaraz and Sinner in that French Open final, I was never expected Koi to win that title. Not not since like Carmen Corp is gonna be like the best team and G2. We all know what G2 are capable of in the playoffs. But for Melton to like bring this team together and showcasing us and just win the whole thing, it is impressive for Melton, of course. I don't think he's a top-rated coach as of yet. I'll give him a B tier because of the way he worked with his team, the way he drafted his team well, the way he managed to get all these good players, especially Jojo Pind of all people, to mesh and work together and to do well in the draft. That showcase, that is why like I feel like Koi are have a good chance to be like make it this far. Despite the fact that I can say that if all the Western teams that can do well at MSI, I think FlyQuest are going to be the only one because of the veterancy and the continuity. But maybe, just maybe, Koi could be my second. G2, I think G2 could be my second. Koi is my third, and maybe Fury my fourth. So I think it's based on the rankings that I put in. I think, Koi has some pretty good B tier players, and always a solid A tier player. I think they can do that. I think Jojo and Merwin has been okay, but I think Merwin's playstyle is going to be like fit with the rest of the team, and it's not working as well. So that will be an issue. But otherwise, I think Man Koi are going to be super. What is the word, by the way? Super. Oh yes. Let me see if I can say it. Let me just see if I can say it. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. My goodness gracious, I cannot even say that word if I tried. They're that brilliant. They're that brilliant team. Now, are they brilliant enough to win MSI? Not that much. But I think with these players, they can put up a solid performance, which is why I put them as B tier and some C tier with an A tier player in Eloya. And that should do it for pretty much part one of the player rankings. We're not done yet. I want to do like a longer one, but because I have like time constraints, of course, with the recording, so I'm gonna put like a cap to it. This has just been part one of the player rankings. Part two is coming up. Let's just say in a couple of hours, or just a couple of days, or in a couple of hours. Who knows? But part one of the player rankings is finished. If you like the video, please like the video. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe to this channel and all kind of stuff for legal latest content. And I will see you all later. Enjoy the rest of the week. And God bless.